Going on, my people? What's going on? Let the room warm up a little bit. Get a couple of people in here. I'm gonna continue to cook like I always do. Uh, what's going on? Excuse me. Yeah. What's going on, people? You're now tuned into another episode of Boxing Matchups. As you come in, make sure you hit my like button, subscribe to my channel, and write in the comment section so I know you in here. But I want to talk about the IBF. They had announced that they want Luis Ortiz to fight another Eliminator fight against Phil Herkovich. Now we all know that Luis Ortiz just fought Charles Martin for IBF Eliminator, and he stopped Charles Martin in the 6th round. Um, it's kind of crazy that they asking Luis Ortiz to do another IBF Eliminator because they normally don't have you do 2 IBF Eliminators. And it makes me wonder, is this something against Luis Ortiz, or is this something that the IBF is going to start doing from now on? Because, like I said, Luis Ortiz just fought for the IBF Eliminator match, and he beat Charles Martin. So he should be the IBF mandatory at this moment. But the IBF decided to put him in another IBF Eliminator match. Luis Ortiz, he's 42 years old now, about to be 43, and he don't have too many more fights left in him. So to put him in another IBF Eliminator match and not let him just go ahead and be the IBF mandatory, being though that's what the rules say, uh, not let him be the IBF mandatory and fight for a title shot, it's kind of messed up because this man he did been ducked his whole basically his whole career. The only fighter that actually gave him an opportunity was Deontay Wilder. What's going on, King D? Deontay Wilder was the only one that gave him a chance out of all of the top heavyweights in boxing right now. Nobody else wanted to fight him. Everybody seemed to duck him. So now that he got an IBF Eliminator match with Charles Martin and he beat Charles Martin, now they decided to put him in another IBF Eliminator match. Like I said, the man he only got a couple more fights left in him. The man is only he's 42 years old, about to be 43. Don't have too many more fights left in him. Um, and from this last fight with Charles Martin, we could see his age is catching up to him. He wasn't as fast as he normally is. Um, he looked like he didn't have his legs under him. Um, and he couldn't cut the ring off. So I mean, and now they want to put him in there with Philip Herkovich, and that man he's not no joke. He's definitely the next boogeyman coming up in the heavyweight, because this man he's a monster. Herkovich is definitely a monster, and um for you to put Ortiz in there with that monster, knowing that Ortiz is 42 years old, 43 years old, is crazy. What's going on, Daryl? That's crazy. I mean, You trying to get this man, basically trying to get this man killed in the ring. Like I said, the man is 42, 43 years old, and you put him in there with a a, a killer. This Herkovich is like a young Ortiz. He's knocking out everybody, and you gonna put him in there. So I don't know what I mean. I mean, now it came out that Luis Ortiz, they turned down the IBF second eliminator match because due to a hand injury. Now, I don't know if it's a true hand injury because we haven't heard anything after his fight with Charles Martin. And then the IBF said he had 3 days to sign on for the IBF eliminator match. And then all of a sudden his team came out and said that he's turning down the fight due to a hand injury. What's going on, Gabe? Um, he said I was passed out last night. Hey man, I understand. I mean, some days you have those days where your body just shut down. You be wanting to do something, but your body just shut down. I done had those days many times. But yeah. So he fought Charles Martin just this past weekend. He just fought Charles Martin. And then and that was a IBF eliminator match. So he was supposed to be the mandatory to um, Usyk or Tyson Fury if they happen to fight for undisputed. Either way, he was supposed to be the mandatory for the IBF. So he just fought on Saturday. IBF came out Monday and said he has to fight. It was either Monday or Tuesday. I believe it was Monday evening, maybe Tuesday morning. It was Monday evening. They came out Monday and said he had 3 days to fight Herkovich in another IBF mandatory. I mean, IBF. I said mandatory. I'm sorry, IBF eliminator. So you get this man. Not only did he already fight in an eliminator match and won that, you put him in another eliminator match and you give him 3 days to sign it right after he just got finished fighting. Now, if that's not a setup move, I don't know what is. So, I mean, like I said, they moving a little funny out here. They moving real funny. Um, oh yeah, inventory week. Yeah, yeah, I know. I used to be in that field. I know exactly how that is. Yeah, I know exactly how that is. I used to work as a store manager. I was a store manager for a couple of different companies, Family Dollar, for Starbucks, and um, for a gourmet restaurant. I was a store manager for that as well. And yeah, when it's inventory time, that it's crazy. Especially when I was at Family Dollar, inventories was that was the worst. That was the worst week when it was inventory week. You gotta count every item in the store and every item in the back room. Yeah, it gets real hectic. But yeah, back to what I was saying. Yeah, so you put him in a IBF, another IBF eliminator match 3 days. I mean, 2 days after he. I mean, you force him to sign another IBF eliminator match 2 days after he just got finished fighting an IBF eliminator match. So they they look like they working against Luis Ortiz. They're not trying to give this man a title shot. Like I said, the only title shot he ever got was with Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder gave him his title shot, and he gave it to him twice. I mean, and like I said, nobody else wanted to do it. He was trying to fight Andy Louise. Andy Louise didn't duck him for years. He didn't try to fight uh, Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua didn't duck him. He didn't try to fight Dylan and White. Dylan and White didn't duck him. So it's like every time he try to get a big fight, everybody is ducking him. Everybody is ducking him except for Deontay Wilder. And now that he finally get a chance to fight for a championship again, they decided to put him in another IBF eliminator match. So it's like this man, he's gonna end up ending his career not able to fight for the title. Besides that one time that he fought, I mean those two times that he fought Deontay Wilder, they don't. It doesn't look like they're gonna give him the chance to win a title. I don't know if it's because they believe that King Kong Ortiz will beat Usyk or will beat uh, Tyson Fury. Me personally, from what I've seen this past weekend, I don't think that King Kong Ortiz will beat Usyk or Tyson Fury at this moment right now. I don't think he'll be able to beat him. Now he has a knockout. I mean, he has a punch that can possibly get him a win. But if he's not able to land that punch, because like I said, he looks slow. He looked much slower than what he used to look. His punch is not as crispy as they used to be. His punch placement is not as accurate as it used to be. And like I said, his legs is not under him anymore. It's like like he was always off balance. Every time he went to throw a hard shot, it like he was off balance. So I don't think he would be able to beat Usyk or Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, he's 6'9", almost 300 pounds. He gonna come in there and just weigh on him, and he gonna use his boxing ability against King Kong Ortiz. And Usyk, he's small, but he got great boxing ability, and I think he will box around King Kong Ortiz because, like I said, King Kong Ortiz not as fast as he used to be, and his legs not under him. So I don't think he'll be able to beat either one of them. Yeah, King D. Yeah, his right hand still. I mean, he still got a good right hand, but like I said, it's not as accurate and as crispy as it used to be. Like when he fought Deontay Wilder, he was still on top of his game. But now, I mean, I don't, he looks his age. He looked like he's 42, 43. King D said uh, the IBF know what they're doing. They be blackballing him for real. Yeah, yeah, they definitely blackballing him. Yeah, they definitely is blackballing him because, like I said, why would you put him in another IBF eliminator? I don't know anybody that had to fight two IBF eliminator matches before they became the mandatory. And shout out to Mo Boxing because he was saying it the other day when we was on the live. He was saying that they had put King Kong Ortiz in another IBF eliminator, and I was going back and forth with him because the IBF usually don't do that. They put you in one IBF eliminator, and once you win that, you become the mandatory. So he was definitely right on. He was right on point when he said it. So I gotta give him his props. I was wrong on that one. I definitely was wrong on that one. So yeah, like I said, shout out to Mo Boxing. Yeah, Mo Boxing. He was on point when he came out with that. I didn't see that. I didn't see that news break until yesterday. I mean, until Monday. But I mean, like I said, it's crazy that they doing it because this man he didn't work his way all the way up and been getting ducked all the way to this point, and they still trying to keep him from becoming a champion. But I want to also talk about what do y'all think is next for Tank Davis? Now we know he's recovering from his hand injury from the fight that he had with Isaac Pitbull Cruz. But what do y'all think he's gonna do next? Because he can't go back to getting those bogus fights and thinking that the fans is gonna pay for it, because this last pay-per-view fight he had, he saw that the fans wasn't going for it. They not paying for no bogus fight, and I didn't pay for it because, like I said, I wasn't gonna pay for it because he's supposed to be fighting people better than that. I mean, and like I said, I know it's not due to him. That's Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather and Leonard Ellerbe, they're not putting them in the matchups. But uh, fuck, I knew Herkovich was out there, but not surprised they pulled. Right. I mean, at this point in the game, you can't be surprised with nothing that's going on with boxing right now, because you think you know one thing and then you turn around, they pull something else. I mean, you can't be surprised by anything right now. So, but yeah, like I was saying with Tank Davis, we got to see what's next for him, because I don't want to see him in there with a no name or somebody that's less lesser competition for him. He needs to start getting in there with some of the top dogs, even if it's not somebody like Devin Haney or Loma or none of those top guys. He got to get in there with somebody that's decent. You can't. I mean, actually, no. I take that back. He got to be in there with a Devin Haney or a Loma or Gary Russell Jr., or he gotta move up to 140 and fight um, Regis Prograde um, or one of those guys. He gotta fight somebody that got a name and that's gonna make a big pay-per-view. Because if you're gonna put it on pay-per-view, you gotta make it worth the while. If you want the fans to buy it, you gotta make it worth the while, because fans are tired of paying for garbage fights. I mean, it's 2022. We done went through 2 years. This going on the second year, or actually going on the third year of the pandemic. They talking about shutting everything down. So that's gonna be people out of work again, and so people not gonna sit here and spend the money that they saved up from trying to get back on their feet to pay for these garbage fights. So you gotta put them in there with somebody that got a name that's gonna make it worth the while for the fans to buy the fight. If you're not putting them in there with Devin Haney or T.O. or Loma or Gary Russell Jr. or Shakur Stevenson, if he moved down, or if Shakur moves up, if you're not putting them in there with people like that, then you got to put it on free TV. You can't make it a pay-per-view. You got to put it on free TV, because the fans is not going to buy it, and you're just going to lose money by putting it on pay-per-view. So I don't know what's their next move for Tank, but they better think hard and and make the right decision, because Tank got to fight somebody he got to fight somebody that's on his caliber. I mean, on his level, because putting him in there with people that's lesser talent, it, the fans not going for it no more. Now, I seen everybody coming out today talking about this Jamal Charlo and Boo Boo Andre, um, saying Charlo called out Boo Boo Andre or whatever. I'm not sure if this is an old call out, or if it's something new. I mean, it doesn't really matter either way. They need to fight. Point blank. Period. These two need to fight. There is history there. Boo Boo Andrade, then he had a fight with Jamel Charlo, and they were scheduled to fight, and he waited till 10 days before the fight and said he decided he thought he can get more money for the fight and pull out of the fight. So you got that man pulled out of the fight with your brother, your twin brother at that, and you have an opportunity to fight him to right that wrong that he did to your brother, why not get in the ring and knock that man out or beat him up, whichever one it is, beat him up or you knock him out. Me personally, I believe that Jamal Charlo, if Jamal Charlo could get back to the Jamal Charlo that was hungry, I believe that Jamal Charlo can beat Boo Boo Andrade. I don't think Demetrius got anything for Jamal Charlo. Now Demetrius can box. He definitely can box. He got decent power, but he really hasn't been in there with nobody. If you look at all his fighters, he really haven't been in there with nobody. Nobody that's on Jamal level. So I mean, we don't really know what Demetrius can do. I mean, we could see the talent that he has, but we really don't know what he can do. He said, King D said, nobody wants to fight Tank but Haney, Loma talking, all that, but don't want Tank or Ryan Garcia. Yeah, we already know Ryan Garcia definitely don't want it. Um, Loma's saying he want to fight. I mean, the only way to find out if Loma really want to fight is to do what we've been telling Bud to do, to pull that card. Tell him to go ahead and make that fight or send him an offer to make the fight and see if he accepts it. If he don't accept it, then we know it was all talk. But if he accepts it, then you got a big fight on your hand. So I mean, that's the only way you can actually find out if anybody really wants that fight. The only way you can find out is to send them an offer or tell them to send you an offer, something like that. Like I said, the same thing we say with Bud Crawford. If 60-40 is on the table, or whatever, and you believe that EJ's ducking you, then go ahead and say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take that 60-40. Call his bluff if you believe he's not gonna really fight you. Call the bluff. That's the only way you can find out if a person really trying to fight you or not. If you're not trying to call a bluff, then we never gonna know. So I mean, that's the only thing I can say because, like I said, Loma is saying he want to fight or whatever, but the only way we know is if Floyd and Leonard Ellaby say, okay, well, we're gonna send you an offer. This is what the offer is going to be, because everybody knows Tank Davis is the A side. It's not in question. Loma is definitely not the A side. He doesn't have any pay-per-view status to even put him as the A side. So and he doesn't have a belt. So he definitely not the A side. So Tank need to fight Cruz again, beat him convincingly. That will line up a great fight against Devin, assuming Devin going to get that Cambosa fight. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind seeing that. I don't mind seeing him fight Isaac Pitbull Cruz again. That's a good fight. Now, it wasn't a good fight when they initially made it. When they initially made it, it wasn't a good fight because nobody really knew who Pitbull Cruz was. Now, I mean, is a catch-22 to making Tank fights if he's not getting the fights with the top guys, because like Isaac Pitbull Cruz, nobody knew who he was, so people didn't want to buy the fight, but it ended up being a good fight because Isaac Pitbull Cruz was everything that his camp said he was. So it ended up being a good fight. So it was a catch-22. So I mean, some of those fights is like that. You're gonna have people that people don't know who they are, and they turn around and surprise, like Cambosa. Nobody knew who Cambosa was. The diehard fans knew who he was, but the casual fans and majority of the boxing fans didn't know who Cambosa was, and he surprised everybody and beat Tio. So you have those catch-22s with certain fighters, but for the most part, you're not gonna get those good fights with unknown fighters. You do get some of them. Some of them they looking for the opportunity for somebody to give them a chance and to prove themselves. What's going on, Conor Loco? But like I said, I mean, you never. I knew you knew. I knew you knew. You made me go back and look at Cambosa, and that's why I made my pick. I called it exactly how it was going to be. Called a split decision, and that's exactly what happened. But yeah, it's like I said, the diehard fans they know these no names, but you got the casual fans and you got majority of the boxing fans that don't watch boxing on an everyday basis. That they don't go back and look at fighters in the amateurs and watch them come up in their career. They just wait till they make the star status and then everybody start watching them. But when you got people that's watching them from the amateurs and then watching them as they get into the pros and work their way up the ranking system, a lot of people, I mean, the people that have been watching, they know what they're about. The other people don't know what they're about, but you've been watching, you know what he can do, you know what he's capable of. So that's what I say. Like that's what I say when it comes to Tank fighting these guys that we never heard of is a catch-22 because we haven't heard of them, but some of them could be good fighters, like Isaac Pitbull Cruz. Isaac Pitbull Cruz, nobody really knew who he was, but it ended up being a good fight because although Tank hurt his hand, but Isaac Pitbull Cruz wasn't backing down from Tank. He was going right at Tank the whole fight, even before he had hurt his hand. So it wasn't like Isaac Pitbull Cruz waited till Tank hurt his hand and then he decided to go at it. He was going at Tank from round one all the way through the 12th round. So it ended up being a good fight. So you gotta some of these fighters gotta get an opportunity to fight the big name fighters or whatever. But I mean, like I said, it's basically a 50-50 shot because you might think the fighters can do something and then they get in there and they lay a dud. So I mean, it's a catch-22 all the way around. But like I said, Tank is 27 years old and he's been in the game long enough. He's got to start fighting these top fighters because if you're just fighting these no-name fighters or fighting these lesser competition, you're going to have the results that you had when you fought Isaac Pitbull Cruz. The fans are not going to buy the fights because they saying, okay, this man been in the game long enough. He needs to be fighting these top guys. He's been tested already. We know what he can do. Now we need to see him in there with the top level. You've been fighting C level and B level fighters. We need you to get in there with a couple of A level fighters because you keep fighting C level and B level fighters, you're never going to get better. You're just going to be on the same level. You're going to be pretty much like what we were saying about Bud. You fighting C level and B level fighters. You're not getting better. You doing stuff to fighters that you're supposed to be doing it to. We want to see you get in there and do it with the top level fighters. So I mean, like I said, I mean it goes either way. But I wouldn't mind seeing him fighting Isaac Pitbull Cruz again. I mean, I believe Isaac Pitbull Cruz, if he doesn't get the fight with Ryan Garcia, um, I believe he did enough to deserve another fight with Tank. And if Tank want to show everybody the reason why he didn't get him out of there was because he hurt his hands, I believe Tank should get back in there and prove it. Hey, I didn't get him out of there because I hurt my hand. Now that my hand is healed, I'm gonna show you he's not gonna last 12 rounds with me. Yeah, I don't know what else is on the table for Tank. I mean, when it comes to Floyd and Leonard Ellerbe, you never know what's on the table for Tank. You never know. You think one thing, you think, oh yeah, they gotta make this fight. They gotta make this fight. And then they turn around and they bring somebody that you never heard of. So you never know what's on the table for Tank. Uh said Leonard Ellerbe on the hot seat with Tank 2021 need a to be a big year. Oh yeah, 2022 needs to be a big year. I mean, yeah, that's what I said. He got to get in there with some of the top guys because um, doing what he did last year, no problem. Doing what he did last year is definitely not going to work It's not going to work this year. It's not going to work this year. They're going to be in the red if they do what they did last year. They're going to be in the red all this year. They're going to be in the red because the fans already showed they're not trying to buy those fights no more. And I think what really took the cake, it might not have went that way, but I think what shined light on it is when they put him in there with Rolly Ramirez. When they had said Tank was going to fight Rolly Ramirez, because everybody know what type of fighter that Rolly Ramirez is. We all know that he's not on Tank level. And so when they had initially called that fight, I think that's what set it off against with all of the fans. I think that's what set it up, and all the fans started looking back and seeing that Tank ain't really fighting no top level fighters. Now everybody already knew that he wasn't, but people was buying it because it was Tank. But now I believe that when they put him in there, when they had initially called that Rolly Ramirez fight, everybody was like, "Hold up, why is he fighting Rolly Ramirez? That man is not on his level." And it made everybody go back and look and was like, you know what, man, I'm not buying these fights. I'm not buying them. And I know that's initially what I said. When they said he was fighting Rolly Ramirez, I was like, I'm not buying that fight. And when they put him in there with Isaac Pitbull Cruz, I didn't buy the fight neither because, like I said, I didn't know who Isaac Pitbull Cruz was. I saw a couple of his fights, but I didn't think he would last with Tank Davis. I thought it was going to be another one of those fights that Tank Davis had where he carried the guy for the first couple of rounds or whatever. Then he ended up getting him out of there around round 6, round 7, or something like that. But Isaac Pitbull Cruz ended up being a nice competition for Tank because Tank ended up hurting his hand. But like I said, he was taking it to Tank the whole fight from round 1. It wasn't like he was trying to box Tank. He went straight at Tank from round 1. He was going for a knockout, but Tank boxing ability, he wasn't going to be able to knock Tank out like that. Yeah, he dropped. I believe he dropped his WBA belts. I know he dropped the one at 130, and I believe he dropped the one at 142. I think he has the regular at 135. I know he had the super at 130, and he has a regular at 135, and I believe he dropped the regular at 140 because he said that he wasn't fighting at 140 no more. That he would just went up there to fight um, Mario Barrios, but then he wasn't going to fight at 140 no more. So I believe he dropped that belt. I'm not sure. I gotta look that up. I'm not sure if he actually dropped Crush the Legend. See, oh yeah, he did drop the belt at 140. Okay, what's going on with you, Crush the Legend? But yeah, so yeah, he has the regular at 135. So yeah, so he because he said he wasn't going back up to 140. So I knew that had came out after he fight the Barrio because everybody was like, well, is he gonna fight Josh Taylor next? And he was like, nah, that was just a one fight deal, and he wasn't fighting at 140 no more. I mean, I actually think he might be better at 140 than 135. Although there's a lot of the guys at 140 is much bigger than Tank or whatever. So that might be a reason why he decided he didn't want to go back up to 140 because all those guys at 140 are much bigger than Tank. Yeah. So yeah, all those guys at 140 is much bigger than Tank. So that might be the reason why he decided he didn't want to go back up there and continue fighting at 140. But like I said, I believe he would have did a decent job. But like I said before, all these guys so scared to lose that O. They wanna stay undefeated. Floyd Mayweather got all these guys thinking that you got to be undefeated to be a superstar. So nobody wants to seem to lose that O. Everybody want to sit there and try to dance around and keep that O. But yeah, but yeah. So like I was saying before, um, the Charlo and Demetrius Andrade fight, it gotta happen because both of these guys was chasing Canelo. You chasing Canelo for what reason? Canelo then moved up to light heavyweight now. I mean, I'm sorry, he moved up to cruiserweight now. So, yeah, are y'all going to move up to cruiserweight to fight him? Because that's where he's fighting at next. He's fighting at cruiserweight. Jamal Charlo's at 160, and Dimitri is at 168. 168. No, he's at 160 as well. He's supposed to be moving up to 168, but both of these guys is at 160. So y'all gonna move up 3 weight classes because you would have to skip over 168 and you would have to skip over light heavyweight to go to cruiserweight. So y'all gonna skip over 3 weight classes. Y'all gonna skip up 3 weight classes to fight Canelo and still not get the fight with Canelo? Because y'all been chasing him for roughly about 3-4 years now, maybe longer than that. I know it's been at least 3 years that they've been chasing Canelo. So it might even been longer than that. It might have been like 4 or 5 years. But y'all chasing this man and he's not giving y'all the fight. So why not both of y'all just fight each other? It'd be for unification. Demetrius got the WBO. Jamal got the WBC. It'd be for a unification, and it'd be a big fight because there's history behind it. Like I said, Demetrius pretty much ducked Jamel Charlo. He thought he can get more money, and he decided not to fight Jamel Charlo. That was a bad move on his behalf, listening to his promoters or whatever, thinking he can get more money, and he ended up turning around not getting the fight at all. So, I mean, I think they should just go ahead and make that fight and get it over with. Whoever come out on top, might can make it a 2-fight deal. If whoever lose their belt, they got a rematch. So you get 2 fights out of the deal. But they gotta stop chasing Canelo because we already know Canelo is picking who he want to fight. So y'all calling him out. He's not gonna pick y'all. He hasn't picked. I don't remember the last time Canelo picked somebody that called him out. I don't even remember the last time he picked somebody that called him out. He's been picking all the fights that he wants. He's not picking the fighters that's been calling him out. We already know what he's doing. He's picking the easy fights. He's picking the fights when he see a kink in their armor. When he's seeing somebody that already beat him, then he'll be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take that fight now. Because he did that with what Danny Jacobs. He did that with the guy in light heavyweight. He fought that Andre Ward beat. I can't think of his name right now, but he did it with him. So he's picking who he want to fight. He's not fighting the fighter that's calling him out. He's picking the guys that he see got lost a step or whatever. So I mean, these guys need to go ahead and fight each other because Demetrius Andrade, you coming to the end of your contract with Matchroom, and you haven't fought anybody. You look back at Demetrius Andrade, he hasn't fought anybody. No real big name fighters are on his resume. All the fighters he fought are B level or C level fighters. He hasn't fought nobody that's an A level fighter. So I don't know what's going on 817. So Canelo needs to see. He said King D said Canelo picking cherries off the ground. Yeah, they washing their time. They wasting their time. Plant was the last big name. Yeah, I mean, and the only reason why he fought Plant was because Plant had a belt. That's the only reason why he fought Plant. If Plant didn't have a belt, Canelo wasn't fighting Plant. Canelo was not looking to fight Plant, and he almost didn't take that fight. So I mean, we already know Canelo is not going to fight neither one of them. The more they chase him, the more he running. So they better off just fighting each other and getting it over with and putting a rest to it because they're chasing somebody. They basically pretty much chasing a ghost because that's exactly what Canelo is. Every time they think they got him, he disappeared. What's going on, Carnello? What's going on, Brown on Boxing? Nah, the IBF. I was talking about that earlier. The IBF ordered Ortiz to fight Philip. Um, they gave him a 3 day note. They said he had 3 days to sign to fight Herkovich for the another IBF eliminator. But Ortiz camp came out and said that Ortiz hurt his hand. Oh, you said Canelo's talking about fighting Triple G again? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's picking who he want to fight. I mean, you fighting Triple G for what reason now? Now, are you going to move down to 160 to fight Triple G, or is Triple G going to move up? That's the whole question because he's supposed to be going up to cruiserweight to fight at cruiserweight. And he just got finished campaigning at 168. He's the undisputed champion at 168. Now you're moving up to cruiserweight and fight at cruiserweight. So you're going to move all the way back down to 160, or is Triple G going to move up? That's the question. So, but yeah, Ortiz camp came out and said that he hurt his hand, so he's not fighting that second eliminator matchup against Herkovich. So I don't know if he truly did hurt his hand because, like I said, we didn't hear nothing about him having any injuries after the Martin fight. He just fought Martin on Saturday. We didn't hear nothing about it. Now they come out and say they came out yesterday and said they're not taking the fight because Ortiz hurt his hand. So I don't know how true it is his hand is hurt. But either way you look at it, it's still kind of it's still messed up because IBF never gave two eliminator matchup. The final eliminator was just on Saturday against Charles Martin, and Ortiz beat Charles Martin. He knocked him out in the sixth round, and then you turn around 2 days later and give him another IBF eliminator match, and say he has 3 days to sign it. So that's crazy. But yeah, so but yeah, I'm about to get up out of here. I appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And I will be back tomorrow at 2:30. It's your boy, Dwayne Freeman, Boxing Matchups. Catch y'all later. Peace.